It's Tuesday, December 2nd.
Well, I think now is a real good opportunity for them to show us what they're going to do and how they're going to keep the steel industry in Canada strong.
1,000 steelworkers at Algoma Steel in Northern Ontario have been handed layoff notices, with the company blaming U.S. tariffs.
It is an important portfolio with a lot of pitfalls that are not obvious.
Prime Minister Mark Carney turning to a familiar face in cabinet in a mini shuffle. Marc Miller will be taking over a role left vacant by the resignation of former Minister Steven Guilbeault.
We have teams of searchers just methodically working through the landfill material. This is the same process that brought Morgan and Mercedes home. Now hopefully we'll bring Ashley home.
A search of a Winnipeg landfill for the remains of a murdered Indigenous woman is now underway.
It's a big joke.
So close means when? Today?
Officials say Toronto's Eglinton light rail line is close, but for commuters, that word has lost all meaning when it comes to this long-delayed project. Stay with us, Canada. Your morning starts right now. Good morning, Canada. Welcome to Your Morning. I'm Anne-Marie Mediwake.
Good morning. I'm Lindsey Deluce.
And I'm Kelsey McEwen. Hopefully your Tuesday's off to a great start.
Let's jump right into news. Big news. Algoma Steel will lay off 1,000 workers. That is more than a third of its workforce. The company blaming U.S. tariffs.
It's very devastating when you live in a community that doesn't have a lot of job opportunities and you're finding out that your job is going to end.
Algoma Steel is based in Sault Ste. Marie. It has been hit hard by the 50% tariffs imposed last summer. The majority of its buyers are in the U.S. The company says the tariffs have forced them to accelerate plans to shut down their blast furnace and coke oven operations a year earlier than planned. The focus now is on electric arc furnace steelmaking. In September, the federal government gave Algoma a $400 million loan. The province pitched in $100 million. But the union says the government offered money without proper conditions to protect workers. The layoffs, by the way, will take effect on March 23rd. Meanwhile, workers at a Crown Royal bottling plant in Ontario have ratified their closure agreement.
There was improvements over and above. There was bonuses, some extra money for them over top of their 2 weeks per year.
Diageo announced its plan to close its plant in Amherstburg back in August. Their collective bargaining agreement is expiring, and the Union for Workers say they didn't have much leverage to negotiate payouts. Workers were given packages based on their age or years of service. There are more than 200 workers at this plant. They voted 89% in favor of the agreement. Marc Miller has been promoted back to the front bench as part of a cabinet shuffle by Prime Minister Mark Carney.
I had the opportunity to be a minister for about 6 years and now another opportunity. So it feels great. I am a guy that likes to be busy.
Minister Miller served in cabinet under former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He will become the Minister of Canadian Identity and Culture and the minister responsible for official languages. Former Minister Steven Guilbeault resigned from cabinet after Ottawa announced its energy deal with Alberta. As part of this shuffle, Public Service and Procurement Minister Joël Lightbound will take on an additional role of Quebec Lieutenant, while Environment and Climate Change Minister Julie Debrucin will take on Nature Portfolio. Alberta is hoping BC will change its mind when it comes to the federal tanker ban.
When I look at Port of Prince Rupert, a lot of those issues don't exist there because it is right on the ocean.
Alberta Premier Danielle Smith says she understands BC's concern of not wanting to expand port infrastructure along its coast, but she says other existing ports can be built on. Premier Smith's comments come after BC Premier David Eby said he would be open to a potential pipeline from Alberta to the BC coast, but only if the tanker ban remains in place. The new Environment and Climate Change Minister, Julie Debrucin, was grilled by the opposition over the project. She says the government won't override the rights of Indigenous rights holders. The coastal First Nations have already opposed the project going through their land. First Nations chiefs will hear from Prime Minister Mark Carney today. The Prime Minister will be speaking at an Assembly of First Nations meeting that's happening in Ottawa. He is expected to face questions over signing that deal with Alberta to potentially build the new pipeline. Other senior cabinet members are also expected to address First Nations chiefs during their 3-day gathering this week. The search is now underway of a Winnipeg landfill for the remains of Ashley Shingoose.
I just told her parents, like, I hope you feel that this is the value and the respect and the dignity that we hold for your daughter. And I hope we're able to bring her home and bring her home soon.
Ashley was killed in March 2022 by convicted serial killer Jeremy Skibitsky. Police believe he dumped her body in a garbage bin and the contents were taken to the Brady Road landfill. The search for Ashley comes months after the remains of 2 other victims of Skibitsky were found, Morgan Harris and Mercedes Myron. Their remains were discovered at Prairie Green landfill. Manitoba Premier Wab Kinew says the search, it could take up to a year. They will be using the same equipment and procedures to go through the landfill material as they did when they found the other victims. A fire at an apartment complex in Toronto has been slowly burning for 6 days now. Toronto's fire chief says it's one of the most complex fires they've ever tackled.
They have never seen something as complex as this. That is why the engineers right now are literally in a room trying to come up with other ideas.
So fire officials say the smoldering embers and fire, it's burning through insulation that's trapped in the concrete walls between the 2 high-rise towers. The fire chief says a combustible particle board is burning. They can't access it. More than 400 people are without a home. They're unsure of when they can go back as well. Many people are staying in hotels. Toronto Fire is not able to give them a timeline yet for when they will be able to go back home. Well, stop me if you've heard this before, but Toronto's Eglinton LRT is close to opening.
We are so close on the crosstown.
So that was Ontario's Transportation Minister speaking on the progress of the project. Yesterday was supposed to be the last day of a 30-day testing period, which started in early October. If testing is done, the line will go through some more tweaks. Officials are not committing to an opening this year. Construction started, by the way, on this line in 2010. The scheduled opening date was 2020, 5 years ago. Toronto commuters will have a new line in use next week, though, when the Finch West LRT opens for service. Here's something to get angry about, despite being 2 words. Rage bait has been named Oxford Dictionary's Word of the Year. Word of the Year. Okay, so for all of you who don't know what rage bait means, it's described as the feeling a person gets when reading something online that appears to purposely incite anger. It's also known to potentially fuel a reaction that increases debate. According to the UK-based dictionary, the use of rage bait tripled in 2025.